The Bible does not state that Jesus Christ was crucified and died on a Friday or mention Wednesday in the Bible. Once it enters the realm of interpretation, feel free to debate and choose the interpretation that is deemed correct. Church Father Irenaeus, a disciple of Polycarp, who was a disciple of the Apostle John, the beloved disciple of Jesus Christ, noted the diversity of Easter commemorations in the ancient church, dating back at least to the time of Pope Sixtus I around 120 AD. While logically, I view Wednesday as the appropriate day to interpret as the day of Christ's death, but I still adhere to the church tradition that commemorates his death on Good Friday. 1. The early church's view on the day of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, based on apologetics in Matthew 12:40.
For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Matthew 12:40.
The method of day reckoning in Jewish tradition diverges from the way days are counted in modern society. In Jewish culture, the expression 1 day and 1 night is equivalent to 1 day, and it does not necessarily have to be exactly 24 hours. Rather, any part of a day can be counted as 1 day. Therefore, the computation of 3 days is straightforwardly marked as Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thelegumena. If we compare Matthew 12:40 with Genesis 1-5 and Amos 5-8.
And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Genesis 1-5.
Then what is called day is the condition of light, and night is the condition of darkness. So we are reminded that Christ experienced a process of 3 times light and 3 times darkness, namely,
Seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night. Amos 5:8.
the emergence of the interpretation of Wednesday as the day of Christ's death on the cross is based on modern calculation that 1 day and 1 night must be a total of 24 hours. So the context of the phrase 3 days and 3 nights must be counted as 3 by 24 hours equals 72 hours. This interpretation is mainly based on the prophecy of Christ, written in Matthew 12:40. So according to this interpretation, Christ died on Wednesday afternoon and rose on Saturday afternoon to create a 72-hour period of Christ's death. 2. Interpretation view: Jesus Christ died on Wednesday. The belief that Jesus Christ was crucified on Friday is held by some people because they consider the preparation day Greek Paraskeua to be Friday, which is the day before the weekly Sabbath or Saturday, making the day before Saturday to be Friday. But what about the preparation day for Passover? Did the Jewish Passover fall on a Saturday at that time? The Jewish Passover is a Sabbath, but the Jewish Passover is not the same as the weekly Sabbath. Therefore, the preparation day for Passover is certainly not Friday, if indeed Jesus Christ was crucified and died on Friday. When did the women, as mentioned in the verse below, buy and prepare spices?
And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James, and Salome, had bought sweet spices, that they might come and anoint him. Mark 16:1.
If the Sabbath referred to is Saturday, then the women bought spices between Saturday evening and Sunday evening, because it is written when the Sabbath was past. Diagenomenu to Sabbatu. According to Jewish tradition, Sunday begins from Saturday evening after sunset until Sunday evening, so they shopped on Saturday night into Sunday. However, a new problem arises. They actually prepared hedo and matzah. May include the meaning of buying spices after returning from Golgotha. And on the Sabbath, if indeed it was Saturday, they rested. So they bought spices before the Sabbath.
And they returned, and prepared spices and ointments, and rested the Sabbath day according to the commandment. Luke 23:56.
Question: when did they buy the spices? Before the Sabbath according to Luke, or after the Sabbath? According to Mark, Mark writes that the women bought spices after the Sabbath. If the Sabbath referred to is Saturday, it means they bought spices between Saturday evening and Sunday evening, while Jesus Christ had already risen on Sunday morning. The Jewish day calculation is from sunset of one day to sunset of the next day. The weekly Sabbath starts from Friday evening until Saturday evening. Luke also writes that the women prepared, including the notion of buying spices after returning from Golgotha, and they rested on the Sabbath. So they bought the spices before the Sabbath, or between the time before Friday evening. From Friday evening to Saturday evening is the weekly Sabbath, and shopping is not allowed. Therefore, the women did not buy spices during that time frame. If both verses are combined and interpreted to mean that the Sabbath referred to is Saturday, then these two verses will contradict each other, because on one hand they bought spices before Saturday. On the other hand, they bought spices after Saturday. Why does the contradiction occur? The contradiction occurs because there is only one Sabbath day. However, if there are two Sabbath days, there would be no contradiction. The two Sabbaths are: 1. Passover day, which is made a Sabbath, namely Shabbat Haggadol, Great Sabbath. 2. Saturday as the weekly Sabbath. Jesus Christ was crucified on the 14th of Nisan in the Jewish calendar. The Apostle John writes that Jesus Christ was crucified on the day of preparation for the Passover, Parascua to Pascha. John 19:14, meaning the day before Passover, Jewish Passover, falling on the 14th day of Nisan, Jewish calendar.
And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour. And he saith unto the Jews, Behold your king. John 19:14.
Compare this verse with,
And the 14th day of the first month, at even is the Lord's Passover. Leviticus 23:5.
the 14th of Nisan. Jews call it Erev Pesach. Only on the 15th of Nisan do they celebrate Pesach, or Jewish Passover. This celebration is also known as Chag Hamatzit, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Therefore, the accounts of Mark and Luke can be summarized as follows. 1. From Wednesday morning to afternoon, Jesus Christ was crucified. Erev Pesach, Jesus died around 3 p.m. Matthew 27 to 45:50. 2. From Wednesday afternoon to Thursday afternoon, Pesach, Jewish Passover, also called Shabbat Haggadol, the Great Sabbath, John 19:31. 3. From Thursday afternoon to Friday afternoon. The women bought spices after the Passover Sabbath, Mark 16:1, but before the weekly Sabbath. Saturday. 4. From Friday afternoon to Saturday afternoon. The weekly Sabbath Saturday. The women rested, Luke 23:56. 5. From Saturday afternoon to Sunday afternoon. Jesus Christ rose from the dead. The summary above confirms Jesus Christ's words in Matthew 12:40. The time span between Wednesday afternoon and Saturday afternoon is a period of 3 days and 3 nights. The first 24 hours, Wednesday afternoon to Thursday afternoon. The second 24 hours, Thursday afternoon to Friday afternoon. The third 24 hours, Friday afternoon to Saturday afternoon, because the weekly Sabbath ends in the evening. Saturday night already begins the first day. Jesus Christ rose on the first day. At what time exactly? Perhaps at midnight. What is certain is that at dawn, the women who came to his tomb found it empty.